Allah, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakadesh. Greetings to the hopeful elect. All right, family. We're going to, led by the Spirit always, we're going to go back to the book of Ezekiel. You know, I said time and time again, that's my personal favorite book. Want to get the book done, but we go as the Spirit leads us. So we left off at chapter 41. So here we go, chapter 41, Dimensions of the Sanctuary. Okay. Then he brought me into the sanctuary and measured the doorpost 6 cubits wide on one side and 6 cubits wide on the other side. The width of the tabernacle. The width of the entryway was 10 cubits, and the side walls of the entrance were 5 cubits on this side and 5 cubits on the other side. And he measured its length 40 cubits and its width 20 cubits. Also he went inside and measured the doorpost 2 cubits and the entrance 6 cubits high, and the width of the entrance 7 cubits. The measuring the length 20 cubits and the width 20 cubits beyond the sanctuary. And he said to me, this is the most holy place. Okay, let's recap verse 1 through 4. Okay, so it is inaccurate to speak of all these courts, festivals, and buildings as the temple. The proper term is the sanctuary, the temple being only a small part of it. The temple itself occupied only about 100 cubic squares, facing another 100 cubic squares, situated in the very center of the whole sanctuary. The outer wall of the temple was 6 cubits or 12 feet, 6 inches thick. The eastern posts of this wall forming the front of the temple were ornamented with pillars 6 cubits or 12 feet 6 inches in each side. 6 cubits being 12 feet and 6 inches. The building itself was wider than 6 cubits, which is 12 feet and 6 inches. Verse 2, talking about the measurements. 10 cubits is 20 feet and 10 inches. 5 cubits is 10 feet and 5 inches. Like this refers to the holy place, corresponding with the holy place of the tabernacle of Moses, and of that of Solomon's temple. It was about 20 by 40 cubits, or 41 feet, 8 inches by, it'd be by 83 feet 4 inches. 40 cubits is 83 feet and 4 inches, and 20 cubits is 41 feet and 8 inches. Verse 41:3, it says here, he also went inside and measured the doorpost 2 cubits. 2 cubits is 4 feet, okay, and the entrance 6 cubits high. And 6 cubits is 12 feet 6 inches, and the width of the entrance was 7 cubits. That'd be 14 feet and 7 inches. It'll be counting into 25 inches to a cubit. And verse 4, he measured the length 20 cubits and width 20 cubits beyond the sanctuary, and he said to me, this is the most holiest place. This refers to a most holy place corresponding with the holy of holiness of the tabernacle of Moses and that of Solomon's temple. It was 20 square cubits, or 41 feet 8 inches square. Verse B, it says right here, when it says right here, this is the measurement should be like 6 cubits equals 20 cubits equals 41 feet and 8 inches. I'm telling you, the math is pretty difficult. It's mind-boggling, but we give you the measurements, and for the brothers that know how to do sketches and can do a rough draft of this, hey man, good for you, more power. I'm just picturing it in my head and just doing the math best of my abilities and according to what the book says, So let's proceed. It says here the side chambers on the wall. Next, he measured the wall of the temple 6 cubits. The width of each side chamber all around the temple was 4 cubits on every side. So that would be let me see. The walls of the temple building were 6 cubits. It says, or 12 feet 6 inches, because 6 cubits is 12 feet 6 inches. And it says here that so the rooms all around the temple on the side walls were 3 stories high and numbered 30 in each row. These were perhaps intended as storehouses for like tithes and offerings, for furniture and whatever would be used in the eternal sacrifices. They were connected to walls other than the walls of the temple itself, but were considered part of the temple. The opening of the rooms faced the temple walls, and the space between them and the walls was a passage or corridor around the temple on the 2 sides. And the west end, there was a winding stairways leading from the first to the second and third stories of the rooms, because 4 cubits equals 8 feet, So let's go to verse 6. The side chambers were in 3 stories, one above the other, 30 chambers in each story. They rested on the ledges, which were for the side chambers all around, and they might be supported but not fastened to the walls of the temple. It seems that the rooms were not built against the temple walls, but against other walls facing them. That's what I'm getting out of this. Verse 7, I guess I'm just going to try to break down each verse as one because of the math, Salaki brothers, but this is the best way I think I can just, bring this to you. Ezekiel's a tough book, man, but that's why I love it, man, because, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, nothing's easy with him, and he wants us to challenge and to take on these challenges, glorified be your name, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Verse 7, as one went up from story to story, the side chambers became wider all around because their supporting ledges in the walls of the temple ascended like steps. Therefore, the width of the structures increased as one went up from the lowest story to the highest by way of the middle one. I guess the walls for the side chambers, the rooms had the full thickness of 5 cubits, which is 10 feet 4 inches for the ground story, but this was diminished 1 cubit, which is 25 inches, to form a ledge, to rest the beams of the second story on, and then further diminished a cubit for the floor of the third story. Thus were the enlarging of the second story of chambers by 1 cubit, and enlarging of the third story by 2 cubits beyond the width of the ground floor. This made more room for the galleries on the upper floor. That's what I'm getting out of this. Verse 8, I also saw an elevation all around the temple. It was the foundation of the side chambers, a full rod that is 6 cubits high. The height of the foundation of the lower chambers wall was 6 cubits or 12 feet 6 inches, and the thickness was 5 cubits or 10 feet 5 inches. This will make the ceiling about 12 feet 6 inches. Because 6 cubits equals 12 feet 6 inches. The thickness of the outer wall of the side chambers was 5 cubits, and so also the remaining adherence by the place of the side chambers of the temple. So this refers to the space or the hallway between the rooms and the garden space of 20 cubits before the temple wall all around. It was about 5 cubit space in front of the chambers, perhaps a special walkway serving all the rooms. Okay, let's go to verse 10. And then between it and the wall chambers was a width of 20 cubits all around the temple on every side. Let's see, 20 cubits, 41 feet 8 inches. Space between this and the temple walls all around must have been a garden space, which complete the whole 100 cubit, 208 feet 4 inches squares, of the temple. 100 cubit, 208 feet 4 inch width. Let's see, temple's inside is what it says here, 20 cubits, so that'd be 41 feet 8 inches. The north side wall is 6, so that'd be 12 feet 6 inches. South side wall 6 feet 12 inches. 6 cubits, 12 feet 6 inches. North rooms 4 cubits, that'd be 8 feet 4 inches. South room same thing, 4 cubits 8 feet 4 inches. North outside wall, that's 5 cubits. That's 10 feet 5 inches. South outside wall, same thing. South outside wall, that'd be what, 5 cubits. That's 10 feet 5 inches. North walkway, that's also 5 cubits. Same thing, 10 feet 5 inches. South walkway, 5 cubits, also 10 feet 5 inches. North garden between walkway and the temple. That's 20 cubits, so that'd be 41 feet 8 inches. South garden between walkway and temple, another 20 cubits. Same thing, 41 feet 8 inches. It's the same as 208 feet or 4 inches. So total be 100. So if 100 cubits, that's 203 feet and 64 inches. Like I say, the math is mind-boggling. Whew, man. But hey, let's proceed. Let's see, verse 11. And the doors of the outside chamber opened, the entrance on the doorway towards the north and the other towards the south, and the width of the terrace was 5 cubits all around. Okay, so same thing, just same math. The doors of the room on the south side of the 100 cubic square open towards the north on the walkways, though. So those are the rooms on the north open towards the south on the walkway, and those rooms on the west open towards the east on the walkway. there were no rooms on the east wall, for this was probably the porch and front part of the temple. So let's go 12 building on the western side. The building that faced the separating courtyard at its western end and was 70 cubits wide. The wall of the building was 5 cubits thick all around, and its legs 90 cubits. Okay, so just same dimensions. 70 cubits is 145 feet 10 inches. 5 cubits is 10 feet 5 inches. 90 cubits 187 feet and 6 inches. Dimensions and designs of the temple area says, so he measured the temple 100 cubits long, and separated the courtyard with the buildings and its walls was 100 cubits long. Also the width of the eastern face of the temple, including the separate courtyard, was 100 cubits. He measured the length of the building behind it, facing the separating courtyard, with its galleries on the one side, and on the other side 100 cubits, as well as the inner temple and the porches of the courtyard. So these galleries were were made on the side of the front of the temple and the other buildings in separate places. These ceilings were with wood. So let's see, verse 16. Their doorposts and the beveled windows frames and the galleries all around the 3 stories opposite the thresholds were paneled with wood. See, from the ground to the windows, and the windows were covered. From the space above the door even to the inner room, as well as the outside and every wall all around, inside and outside, by measures. And it was made with cherubims and palm trees between cherubims and cherubims. Each cherub had 2 faces, so that the face of a man was towards a palm tree on one side, and the face of a young lion towards a palm tree on the other side. Thus it was made through the temple all around. From the floor to the space above the door and on the walls of the sanctuary, cherubims and palm trees were carved. The doorposts on the temples were square, as was the front of the sanctuary. Their appearance was similar. The altar was of wood, 3 cubits high, and its length 2 cubits. Its corners, its lengths, and its widths were of wood. And he said to me, this is a table that is before the Most High. The temple and the sanctuary had 2 doors. The doors had 2 panels apiece. 2 folding panels, 2 panels for one door and 2 panels for the other door. Cherubims and palm trees were carved on the doors of the temple, just as they were carved on the walls. A wooden canopy was on the front of the vestibule outside. There were beveled window frames and palm trees on one side, and the others on the other side vestibules, also on the side chambers of the temple and on the canopies. Okay, so let's see. These cherubims with 2 faces and palm trees. Between the carved wood sculptures on the walls through the temple from floor to floor, and then the doors, it says, right? And these were pilasters, rectangular. Let's go to verse 21. The doorposts in the temples were square, so it says here the temples were square, and as was the front of the sanctuary, their appearance was similar. So these were like pilasters, I think rectangular columns that projected from the wall. They were all alike and formed part of the inner walls of the temple. This altar, verse 22, the altar was of wood with 2 cubits size and length, 2 cubits, its corners, its length, and its sides were of wood. And he said to me, this is the table that is before the Lord, right? So these altars was different from the larger altars of the sacrifice in the center of the 100 cubit squares, and in front of the temple. This was the altar of incense, about 6 feet 3 inches high and 4 feet 2 inches in square, all of wood, instead of being covered with gold like the ones Moses had made it for the tabernacle. Here it's called the tabernacle that is before the Lord. Because 3 cubits is 6 feet 3 inches, and 2 cubits is 4 feet 2 inches. So this verse 23, the temple and sanctuary had 2 doors. This must refer to the doors of the holy place in the most high place. In the most holy place. Okay, so there were beveled windows frames and palm trees on one side, on the other side, of the vestibules, also on the side of the chambers of the temple and of the canopies. Narrow windows and palm trees between them were in many parts of this building, it seems. Alright, so that's the chapter. Whew, man, I tell you, man, that was a tough one, man. I haven't had this difficulty with math since I was, going to junior college, man. But hey, man, I hope this was edifying. Read it for yourself or rewrite this video, and you got the measurements, and I know you can just picture what a beautiful place this must be, man. This temple is amazing, like nothing that we never seen before in this, in this world, and it's like something to look forward to, and it's an exhortation in itself. And on that note, I want to say Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem Kakadesh, and Shalom, and good night to the hopeful elect.